Hello and welcome to another episode of M&H Breakfast Banter. We have both of us here, Anita, who is the M, Anita Menon, and I'm the H, Ron Howard. We have a very special guest today, who I will introduce, if you allow me to, after I've asked what the breakfast is, Anita.
So today we have from Caribou, one of our favorite coffee places in Bahrain. We have smoked turkey sandwiches, we have a chicken panini and a halloumi sandwich for myself and a croissant for coffee. Nayef here is having a black coffee and Ron is with his tea as usual.
No surprise there, is
Absolutely
there?
no surprise. And I'm having some coffee. Yes. So, so yes, let's introduce our guest.
Yes, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Nayef Al Alawi.
Thank
I
you
got
so
your
much.
name right, I hope.
Correct, yes.
Yes, and we're going to talk all about the exciting things that your company, Eazy Pay, is up to, is doing, and is likely to do in future.
Sure.
But before we do that, please let the audience or the listeners know a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me today. It's my utmost pleasure. My name is Nayef Al Alawi. I am the founder and CEO of Eazy Financial Services, between hyphens Eazy Pay. This is our commercial branding. Eazy has been founded in 2016 by Central Bank of Bahrain, or licensed regulated by Central Bank of Bahrain. We have started our businesses as a biometric payment network per se. That idea was to eliminate the human interaction using cards toward pulling cash from ATMs or even paying on a point of sale in any retail shop. So I have invented an algorithm where basically it's patented in the United States. It's listed also in the Library of Congress. It has been inaugurated by the late Prime Minister, God rest his soul, Prince Khalifa bin Salman, as the first Bahraini to roll up in that network. We got some very strong tractions from local banks to participate in our closed loop type of biometric payment network. The idea is very simple. You go and register your fingerprint in any participant bank, and then basically you're gonna approach to that particular ATM. So rather than you basically insert the card, there's no need of a card. The fingerprint is a replacement of a card. So it's a self-proof attending way of payment or a cash withdrawal. And then automatically he inserts the PIN, which is relevant to the card, and the cash gets dispensed or the purchase happened. Now this is where we have started in 2018 and 19, and then we got struck with COVID. COVID actually paralyzed the entire world per se. However, this didn't basically eliminated us to remain where we are or crumble down or whatsoever. We have approached to Central Bank of Bahrain and asked for guidance and support to dramatically change the behavior of the company. So the company wasn't allowed back then, since we were biometric, to interact with the end user, whether he's a merchant or a consumer. So it was sort of B to B to C. So we have to work with a bank. The bank has to offer this to the customers. But because of the COVID and the dramatic shift happened, we requested the Central Bank of Bahrain to add a new activity to our license and to allow us to work directly with the audience. So thereby they have allowed us to become the 5th point of sale acquirer in Bahrain. And we are now providing our payment terminals to the market, and the customers are using the machines with very competitive rates, with a better solution. It basically supports the use cases of the merchants. I'm gonna shed more light over that, but this is what dramatically has changed Eazy as a V curve. Basically, it's not a U curve; it's a V curve for Eazy. Yeah.
But where did you get the idea from in the first place?
Well, I've been asked this several times. Look, everything comes with a problem or an incident or something. I was actually in a place, I don't know whether I can mention the name or not, but anyhow, it was a hypermarket. And that's why my colleague, which we mentioned earlier, he knows about it. So anyhow, I was in that place, and with family, with a full shopping cart. And then the minute that the attendee rings the items one by one, I just reach out to my pocket and I find out that, oops, I forgot my wallet. And this thing has happened to dozen amount of people. So then I thought about it and give it some thought process, like, what is the thing that you will never forget? Ever, ever, ever. Mobile is always, you might forget it. It might drain out of the battery. So I just looked at my hand and said, hold on a second, it's fingerprint. And the fingerprint is always with you and it can identify you. And then I start to do some, R&D and stuff, and took some advices from consultants that, listen, this is a $1 million business. You shouldn't expose this to anybody. First, you have to do a copyright. So this is the process that took me all the way.
Is your background banking?
Not precisely, but I wouldn't say banking as banking, because banking is a very vast word. My background is technology. So I tried to enter to that niche, which is, we call it payment. Payment is an ancillary part of the banking. Yeah. Banking consists of treasury, consists of placements, yada yada yada, so many stuff. But for the normal Joe who looks at banks, he always look at it from the retail perspective. Okay. This is my amount, this is my saving account, and this is my card. I want to pay. And I felt that there are so many areas in the payments that are not being entertained, and this is what I call a niche.
Correct. So I know you've covered some part of the next question that I'm going to ask, which is about the services that your company is offering. So if you just could quickly list down what all the services that your company provides.
Today, Eazy major license is payment. So there's a mixology in the language, so I'll try to use it in a very simpler way. We are a payment service provider and an acquirer at the same time. So we provide terminals, which are point of sales to the merchants. And we provide also online payment gateway for also the merchants. So our main customers are merchants. Away from that, we are a principal member with Visa and MasterCard. So we don't rely on a bank. We are the actual financial institute which receives the funds directly from Visa and Master. Mm-hmm. And this is by itself is a major milestone in Eazy's achievements with a very short period. Also, during the first quarter of next year, 2023, we'll be launching our digital banking services app, which is directly for the consumer, where you will be onboarded digitally, you'll do the KYC digitally, and you receive a card, physical card, and digital one as well. Correct, and you can add it over Apple Pay and stuff. So we are entertaining both, best of both worlds, let's say.
So something like ELA, I guess.
Yes.
So is there market for two such digital banks in the country?
Well, there is, because I'll be very frank. I mean, I know that what I'm saying, it might be not that orthodox to banks, but today the entire, let's say, betting goes to the fintechs like us. Yes. And the banks will remain just a custodian of cash. Yeah. So banking services will always go towards the, companies like us, fintechs, and also like ELA. Now, the generation, day by day, month by month, looks for something simpler, looks for something with their bespoke type of use cases belongs to them. So I believe that the market is maturing. There is a growth in the market. Bahrain has the potential to organically grow within, and basically that's why you can see that the other banks as well, which are, we call them legacy or traditional banks, are shifting towards become more digitized. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were named amongst the top 25 fintech companies of 2022.
Correct.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that's in the Middle East. Does that mean that you're likely to expand outside Bahrain?
Correct, yes. I mean, that Forbes listing, or being one of the Bahraini companies, or very limited Bahraini companies which been listed in Forbes, wasn't just like a coincidence. as I said earlier, as a fintech company, we took a very strong hit when we had to change our basic license and activity as such, where the company back then was below negative,
Okay. Back then when you started in 2016, 17.
and which made also other banks to stop servicing anything with, as they said, no touchy. So there is no biometric. So everything went basically below the negative, even very worse. We didn't allow to leave any employee to go. We focused to rearrange ourselves. Nonetheless, the minute that we had that license, as I said, there was a V curve. The company processed so far more than $500 million. So from a company below zero to a company processed more than $500 million within a span of a year. This is what made us achieve the top fintech in the Middle East. And rightly said, Howard, today we are basically expanding our businesses in the region. We are focusing to expand the similar license that we have now to Saudi Arabia and also to the UAE.
Okay. So you're also getting into payments via cryptocurrencies.
True.
So how's that going so far, and do you think it's likely to continue or grow? So are people paying using cryptocurrencies as of now?
Exactly. As we're speaking, transactions are happening. We have a very strong POS network in the markets, like more than 6,000 terminals.
Okay.
They're all exposed to receive crypto customers.
Okay.
Majority of those merchants that we have those machines with are anchor merchants. Going back to the crypto element, I'm not that savvy into crypto, to the very small depth, but today the crypto goes to a bear and a bull market, right? So people, when they are in the bull market, their appetite is more larger to go and go. Although it's a bear market and people are sensitive to use their crypto, we are seeing some tractions happening over our machines. Customers are happy to use their crypto assets or crypto coins or to pay goods and services over our machines. None as such has done it in a regulated way. It's first of a kind, thanks to having Central Bank of Bahrain, a very, very mature yet open-minded central bank. They've asked me, Nayef, how could this possibly happen? See, first of all, we didn't work with an unknown entity. We worked with Binance.com, the global company, right? And we know that Binance.com, upon opening, let's say, a wallet account for yourself or whomever, they do a very strong scrutiny before they allow you to open. So that's what made us basically happy. Afterwards, we told Central Bank of Bahrain, we are not allowing a blockchain.
Okay.
So the customer who has crypto and he wants to pay, let's say, a merchant in crypto, no, actually this will not happen. Basically, the merchant is a merchant. End of the day, let's say, for example, you go to a retail shop that has our machine, and you want to pay, let's say, 20 dinars or 30 dinars. So the machine is idle and is waiting for any means of payment, right?
Yes.
So one of them is crypto. So automatically the consumer comes and he said, I want to pay with crypto. He punched the button. It generates a very dynamic QR, this is the technology that we built with Binance. He scans it out, and in a real time, he sells his crypto to what's equivalent to what does the machine wants. End of the day, my duty with the merchant is to settle him in dinars.
Yes.
So I'm receiving my, let's say, funds in fiat, in dollars.
Yeah.
Similarly, like when I do with Visa and MasterCard. Maybe today the audience doesn't know that as a bank, you pay your goods in dinars, but I receive it in dollars from Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah.
A similar thing from Binance as well.
Yeah.
We always get asked a lot of questions on crypto, don't we?
Yes, we do actually.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite
Yeah.
trendy hot topic for podcast, and
Well,
we
yeah,
haven't yet done that podcast.
we did one Investment 101,
Okay.
and part of it was crypto.
Okay.
And, the history of crypto from a year ago to 3 years ago
Correct.
was that it went up from maybe $20,000
Absolutely,
a coin up to 60,000.
Yeah.
Now it's at 16, and
That's
there's a
why.
lot of instability
That's right,
there.
because it's a very volatile market. However, as I said, we are the first ever in the region who are providing such services to merchants and as a payment enabler, let me call it, with a very, let's say, the first biggest platform now after, I don't want to go to that subject, but
But
they are
that's
now the first.
yes, that's excellent. I mean, I'm sure you'd reap the first mover advantage. Anyhow, you would. I just want to know a little bit about what did you do before Easy Pay happened? You know, what did you study? Where did you study? And all of those things. And
Well, I mean, I didn't attend a private school in Bahrain. So I'm proudly saying that I'm from a public school. And apparently back then the public schools were quite way much robust than now because of the agility going on of private schools and everyone's giving the best curriculums. However, I have received, I was distinguished at school. So I got a very good GPA and I was in a scholarship to the United Kingdom. I studied in Leeds Metropolitan University. My major is B.S.C. engineering.
So did I.
Sorry?
So did I. Just for 3 months, I did a graduate conversion course there.
Okay.
From history to accounting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Where did you live?
I lived in a place called Headingley.
Oh, I was next door in Roundhay.
Okay. Oh, that's
A
good.
few years before you, though.
Yeah. Well, that was like back in 2002.
Yeah.
And then I took like a foundation course over there. And in 2006, I graduated from basically from Leeds Met. Now I think they changed the name to Leeds Beckett because they had the biggest campus they have is in Beckett Park. It's their biggest campus. They have 2 campuses basically. But I was in a scholarship from the government and fully paid by the government of Bahrain. Graduated from there. And I had a wonderful years over there and back in Leeds.
is that like 4 years of engineering?
Yeah.
So in tech, something in tech?
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely. Multimedia technology is quite vast word. My specialism was into programming and some sort of what the guys are doing now is filmmaking as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you created the algorithm yourself, which is patented now.
Correct.
So this is your own invention, your own innovation.
Yes.
And you did it while you were here in Bahrain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right after I had that incident and doing that R&D for the past, let's say, during a year or so, I came up with my own sovereign algorithm, which basically translate the fingerprint to a card. And it's irreversible to a fingerprint at the same time. It's like we call it's a hash or a token. Currently now the word token is very, very familiar when it comes to
NFTs.
Exactly. NFTs or let's say, when you add your card over Apple Pay, that card is not a card, it's a token.
Okay.
So token is more secure because it asks for 2 kind of authentications, either your facial or a PIN code, and it releases the payment. And there are no limitation from the central banks or the bank itself, which issued your card because of the security element. Okay. That's why tokens are more considerable as more secure than the physical card. And we initiated that on the Stone Ages though.
Nice. That's how I think it's evolved into something like this today.
That's the company. Let's say I'm lucky enough to work for you.
Okay.
What's your leadership style? How are you going to get the best out of me?
Well, I always share my thoughts with my team. I always gather them around, listen to them, whether from the seniorest to the juniorest one we have. I always listen to people. I always take in consideration their thoughts, their beliefs. Apparently, we always give them a dosage of motivation on daily basis. I love the way that we are in turbulence every day because it always motivates the team. I want to just throw a small example. Today, we have witnessed something called GOAT, which is greatest of all time, Messi.
Yes.
We always throw an example previously that Messi, when he used to play in Argentina, he didn't succeed. But when he used to play in Barcelona, he used to succeed. Why? Because he's a team player, and they are a team player. Apparently, Argentina, they have just changed their mentality and tried to play ball with Messi. So this is what made him to raise the World Cup previously.
Yes.
I try to have the similar ideology. Whatever we have, there is no one superstar on the team. There is, a spirit. There are challenges. Challenges are not meant to last forever. We have just to dodge them. And basically, everyone comes to me at the office saying that I have done that and I have achieved that, and a tap to his shoulder will make his day, basically.
And how big is your team?
Well, we are now 26 and we are
Okay.
growing.
That's excellent. And all from here?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're mixed. They're like expatriates,
Okay.
and there are Bahrainis,
Okay.
but apparently they're all from here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So if there's been a huge surge in contactless payment, we all know that because of COVID, and that's made everybody accelerate whatever efforts they were making in that space. So competition is huge in this space. You said you're the fifth acquirer in the. How is that competition working for you, or do you think that some sort of an acquisition is going to happen, and do you see some sort of a future like that, or everybody is just going to keep going like this?
Well, I mean, see, honestly, this is quite a double-dipped question, let me call it, right? And honestly speaking, yes, the market is always been mentioned that is saturated, but I highly doubt that. Why? Because there's a growth in the market. There are new shops opening, so there's always opportunity for everyone. Nonetheless, Bahrain lacks that mentality of acquisitions. I don't know why, because I believe of a legacy type of mentality, or maybe because of, I wouldn't call it an ego as such, but look at Kuwait or look at UAE or Saudi. The minute that they see there's a competition and there's a potential to sustain this, they acquire you. I can see Bahrain these days is changing, and there are some sort of indicators that might lead to these things that we can also, on the region, brag about it. Like, look, there are major acquisitions in Bahrain happening. Nonetheless, competition is always there, and whatever defines you is what you can provide the merchant with: best of services, best of technology, how agile and fast you are, because the market is moving really fast. So the minute if you are not entertaining that customer, he might be someone else's customer.
You'd be happy to note that I went to the hypermarket yesterday, and the other POS did not work and yours worked quite fine. So there's some feedback from a customer.
Somebody's pain is somebody's gain, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So is this the death of cash?
Absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
long do you give it?
Well, I mean, adding to what COVID added to the let's say ideology, I would definitely give it like the next 5 to 7 years max.
Gone. Huh?
Gone. Because I know that MasterCard had a story, basically, where their previous CEO, I think he's Indian as well, the previous CEO, have gathered all his team and asked him to draw a circle. And they told him that circle consists of the world, right? So he asked them, okay, how much do we contribute to that world? They said it's around 20% as cards. And then he said, how much our competitor is eating up from our market? They said it's 50-50 out of the 20%. And we are doing this and we are doing that and we are trying to have that strategy. He said, wait a minute. Don't compete with each other. Compete with cash. The majority is cash. So governments, schemes like Visa and MasterCard, payment service providers like ourselves are fighting cash. However, there are some sort of measurements has to be done by the regulators to, like for example, I remember in America, if you want to withdraw cash from your bank account, they charge you.
Yes, they do.
And this is a good encouragement to stop you using cash. So if we try to emphasize these things again, then the other merchants who are only accepting cash, let me call it, will have no other way to just accept it electronically, right?
But it's going to be very challenging for the unbanked if that's the case. So is there any solution for them?
See, in Bahrain, there is a problem for unbanked. Thanks to our government, they are actually making everything orthodox, right? Yani they are trying to maneuver all the unbanked or underbanked towards having bank accounts and cards. Like, for instance, the WPS program that we have in Bahrain. Now, major of those, let's say, unbanked are banked actually. And Bahrain is always a pioneer in these things, which reflects to the region. Bahrain is very controllable. It's a very small market, and you can test and showcase everything ideally. Yes. So I don't feel that there are unbanked in Bahrain. Maybe only the underage, I believe.
It is.
Yeah.
Maybe not them for very long.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
But I think they take the ATM card to those camps and they withdraw cash from there. So
Still so, because it all relates to the acceptor of payments. If the small merchants and SMEs stop receiving cash, or cash dispensing has stopped, they have no other alternative to
switch to.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So you told us that you're always on the go, and so what do you do for fun? How do you spend your time when you're not?
Away from being workaholic, I try my very best to have like a couple of days, which is my weekend, to spend it with family, especially my boys, which I'm seeing them growing up very oftenly, which is really bad. So that's why I'm trying to compensate whatever I've wasted with them, reading books, listening to them, taking them out for movies and stuff. So I feel that this is sort of my sanctuary when it comes to avoiding all that stress. Yeah.
Stress.
Family man.
Yeah.
Yes,
Family.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.
So what's next in line for Eazy Pay?
Well, I mean, I believe that sky is the limit, and to make it more materialistic, expansion.
Okay.
Expansion.
Can I ask, is it ever likely that you'll take deposits?
No, I mean deposit in a sense to reward you with
Well,
interest.
no, I mean because you then become a full bank, don't you?
But you are going to be a digital bank, right?
Yeah, it's quite like, let's say, it's a quasi type of a bank.
Okay.
All right. So yes, we do take clients' money account in a sovereignty and relate them to the balances of their cards.
Right.
So whatever you use from the card, that the balance will get reduced. So we are obliged by Central Bank of Bahrain to have all these areas in place, monitored, audited on monthly basis. So they used to call it escrow account,
Yes.
but they have changed the terminology to client money account. So whatever customers top up their accounts get reflected. The money should be always there. So definitely, yes, it's a big pool of deposit.
So no interest though.
No, I mean, basically we are not a bank again. We are giving a banking service. So all of these amounts are an actual traditional bank, right?
Okay.
And that particular
You're
bank,
just a mode.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
So now you're saying expansion is what you're looking at, and that's going to be the future for you. So you're looking at the region. Are you looking at GCC, MENA, world? What is the?
Well, I mean, it's good to take step by step, but we don't mind basically if we expand beyond that. See, the beauty about the e-commerce platform that we provide is that it is really, really agile.
Yeah, scalable also.
However, there is also a dark side to it that we have to always take in consideration the KYC process that we do to that, or let's say KYB, when we do a scrutiny on that particular merchant, because fund transfers and money transfer from us to them has to be really monitored. However, yes, we are actually expanding our license to Saudi Arabia, to UAE, and probably also to the GCC region.
So what does the future look like for you and the company? You told us that you're going to expand. So are we looking at the region in terms of GCC, MENA, or is it going to be the world? So how are you going to take it forward?
Okay, we're gonna start with the GCC region, starting with the Saudi and UAE, because we are going to also provide the similar terminals to them. So you have to be physically over there. However, when it comes to the e-commerce side, the payment gateway, no, you are allowed to expand wherever you are, since we have a principal license with both schemes, Visa and MasterCard. But we have to be very careful to whom shall we onboard them as a merchant, because of the world and the money laundering and the anti financial crime. So we take these things in consideration. But definitely, it's over and beyond the region.
And I also wanted to touch upon whether you're looking at mentoring people to come into this space. Are you doing that? I mean, grooming young leaders?
Yes, yes.
Because I think a lot of people would be very interested in the kind of things you're going to do. So
Absolutely.
are you taking steps in that direction as
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there are some ad hoc invitations being done by Temkeen
Yeah.
and by BIPA. So many arenas have communicated, and I have voluntarily participated because I love to exchange thoughts. I don't like to keep things for myself. This is if you are keeping things to yourself, that doesn't mean that you are a leader. You have to pass the torch, as I say, or pass the
Yes,
stick to
yes.
somebody else, because the legacy is here in Bahrain. If I keep things to myself, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Whatever experience I had, or mentorship, or leadership, I have to pass it to somebody. So I like to attend to these events, and I'm open to any sort of venture to that thing. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I mean, this is all that we have for today
Yes,
to
yes.
ask you.
Thank you very much for
my pleasure.
answering the questions and
It's my pleasure.
telling us about your business. Normally at this time I would say, how was the breakfast? But we were enthralled with what you were saying. So other than me taking a few sips of tea, nothing, we haven't eaten anything, have we?
Yeah, I mean, we can eat after the podcast.
So thank you. I leave it to Anita to tell us where we can be found.
So this is our 9th episode for season 3, and you can find us on YouTube at MH Consultants. And if you want to take a look at what we are doing on an ongoing basis, you can follow us on Instagram at mhconsultants_Bahrain. And thank you as always for watching. Thank you, Nayef, for being here. Really a pleasure talking to you and understanding this space. Thank you so much.
My utmost pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.